Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna.
And now chapter 16, The Pure Devotees' Spiritual Opulences. Text 37. Ato vibhutim mama maya vinastam Aishvaryam ashtangam anupravrittam Shriyam bhagavatim vasprayanti badram Prasyamete snuvate tu loke. Translation. Thus, because he is completely absorbed in meditation upon me, the devotee does not desire even the highest benediction obtainable in the upper planetary systems, including Satyaloka. He does not desire the 8 material perfections obtained from mystic yoga, nor does he desire to be elevated to the kingdom of God. Yet even without desiring them, the devotee enjoys, even in this life, all the offered benedictions. Purport. The vibhuti, or opulences, offered by Maya are of many varieties. We experience different varieties of material enjoyment even on this planet. But if one is able to promote himself to higher planets like Chandraloka, the sun, or still higher, Maharloka, Janaloka, and Tapaloka, or even ultimately the highest planet, which is inhabited by Brahma and is called Satyaloka, one will find immense possibilities for material enjoyment. For example, the duration of life on higher planets is far, far greater than on this planet. It is said that on the moon, the duration of life is such that our 6 months are equal to 1 day. We cannot even imagine the duration of life on the highest planet. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that Brahma's 12 hours are inconceivable even to our mathematicians. These are all descriptions of the external energy of the Lord, or Maya. Besides these, there are other opulences which the yogis can achieve by their mystic power. They are also material. A devotee does not aspire for all these material pleasures, although they are available to him simply by wishing. By the grace of the Lord, a devotee can achieve wonderful material success simply by willing, but a real devotee does not do so. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has taught that one should not desire material opulence or material reputation, nor should one try to enjoy material beauty. He should only aspire to be absorbed in the devotional service of the Lord, even if he does not get liberation but has to continue the process of birth and death unlimitedly. Actually, however, to one who engages in Krishna consciousness, liberation is already guaranteed. Devotees enjoy all the benefits of the higher planets and the Vaikuntha planets also. It is especially mentioned here, Bhagavatim Badram. In the Vaikuntha planets, everything is eternally peaceful. Yet a pure devotee does not even aspire to be promoted there. But still, he gets that advantage. He enjoys all the facilities of the material and spiritual worlds, even during the present lifespan. According to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Rupa Goswami in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu Narad Muni in the Narada Pancharatra, and Bhagavan Sri Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, a pure devotee never wants anything from the Lord. He does not even want liberation, to say nothing of material things. Generally, people want dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, in that order. First of all, people want to become religious, dharma, in order to attain material opulence, artha. People want material opulence in order to gratify their senses, kama. And when they are frustrated in their attempt to gratify their senses, they want liberation, moksha. In this way, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha are going on. However, a devotee is not interested in any of these. In the Christian religion, people pray, "Give us this day our daily bread." But a pure bhakta does not even ask for his daily bread. A pure devotee is kept in the hand of Krishna, just like a very precious jewel. When you hold something precious in your hand, you are very careful, and similarly, Krishna holds the devotee and takes care of him. One can just imagine his position if a very rich man says, "Don't worry, I will take care of everything for you." Krishna, the Supreme Lord, is the proprietor of all opulence. There is no one more opulent than Krishna. Therefore, if Krishna says that he will take care of his devotee, there is no question of poverty. Most people want material opulence, but they do not know that Krishna is the proprietor of all opulence. That is their misfortune. Although the proprietor of all opulence says, "Just surrender unto me, and I will take care of you," people do not do it. Instead, they say, "I will take care of my own business. I will maintain myself. I will take care of myself, my family, my friends, and my country." Arjuna was very intelligent because he simply chose Krishna, whereas Duryodhana took Krishna's soldiers. It is not possible to conquer Krishna, but the devotee can capture Krishna with bhakti, love. It is impossible for people to understand the great opulence of Sri Krishna. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tells us to abandon speculating about God. There is a story of a frog in a well being approached by a friend who says, "My dear frog, I have just seen a huge body of water." "What is that water?" the frog asks. "The Atlantic Ocean," the friend replies. "Oh, the Atlantic Ocean? Is it bigger than this well? Is it 4 feet? 10 feet? Our attempt to speculate about God is very much like this. If we want to understand God, we have to try to understand from God Himself. We may have a neighbor who is very wealthy, influential, wise, strong, and beautiful, and we may speculate about his opulence. But if we make friends with him, we can understand his position by listening to him speak about himself. God cannot be subjected to our imagination. Our imagination is limited, and our senses are imperfect. The process of Bhakti Marg is the process of submission. There is no question of subjecting God to our imagination. We simply have to become very humble and submissive and pray to Krishna sincerely, "Krishna, it is not possible for me to know you. Kindly explain how it is I can know you, and then it will be possible." This is the way Arjuna approached Krishna in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We can hardly understand or comprehend the innumerable universes. The word Jagat refers to this universe, but there is more than one universe. Although we are seeing only one universe, there are millions of universes, and Krishna is supporting all of these millions of universes with a single fragment of himself. This is also confirmed in many other Vedic literatures. Yasyaika nishvasita kalam athavalambya jivanti loma vilaja jagad andanatha Vishnur mahansa ihayasya kala vishesho Govindamari purusham tam aham bhajami, which means, quote, Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of hair of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of his one exhalation. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of a portion. Unquote. From the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 48. This is the information given in Brahma Samhita, the prayers offered by Lord Brahma. This Brahma Samhita was accepted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who copied it when he toured South India. Formerly, there were no presses to print these literatures, and these important Vedic writings were written by hand. These literatures were not very cheap, and only highly qualified Brahmins were able to keep them. They were worshipped in the temple as the Shastra deity. It is not that they were available everywhere. Now, of course, the printing press has changed all this, but nonetheless, we should always understand that the granthas, the scriptures, should be worshipped as God, because they are the sound incarnation of God. One should not consider Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam to be ordinary books, and one should take care of them just as carefully as one takes care of the deity. At any rate, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from South India with a copy of Brahma Samhita, he gave it to his disciples and told them it was a summary of the Vedanta and the Srimad Bhagavatam. We therefore accept Brahma Samhita as authorized scripture, for it was authorized by the Supreme Person, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just as Sri Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita in so many ways that the entire material creation is resting on one of his portions, Brahma Samhita explains the same subject. It is stated that from the skin pores of the Mahavishnu, all the universes are emanating. In each universe there is a Brahma, a supervisor, who is the supreme creature and manager. These managers live only as long as the Mahavishnu exhales. When he exhales, all the universes are created, and when he inhales, they all return into his body. In this way, so many universes and Brahmas are coming and going. The durations of these breaths, which constitute a life of a Brahma, are described in Bhagavad Gita as many trillions of earth years. One may say that this is all fictitious and imaginary, but unless one believes it, one has no right to touch Bhagavad Gita. Generally, people are interested in going to the higher planetary systems in order to become more opulent. This is the process of karma kandiya, and people perform yajnas and pious activities in order to be elevated to higher planets. The idea is that one will be able to enjoy himself more and have a longer lifespan, more opulence, more beautiful women, nice gardens, and so on. Actually, this is the case, But a devotee is not at all interested in these things because he accepts Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, verse 16, Sri Krishna says, Abrahma bhuvanal loka punar avartinorjana, which means, quote, from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place, unquote. Even if we are promoted to the highest planet, Brahmaloka, the planet where Lord Brahma lives, our situation there is still not eternal. So why should a devotee be interested in such a place? A devotee is simply interested in the Supreme Eternal, Sri Krishna. The Supreme Lord is the supreme leader of the Nityas, the eternal living entities. We are all Nityas, eternal, and Krishna guides and plays with us. In the spiritual world, Krishna and his devotees are friends, and they play together as cowherd boys. They are not interested in Brahmaloka or Chandraloka, for these planets will ultimately be annihilated. There are some living entities that live only a few seconds, or at most a night. By the morning, they are all dead. Any life in the material world is comparable to that. Brahma may live millions of years, but he ultimately has to die. Whether we go to the highest planet or the lowest planet, whether we are in the body of a Brahma or a cat, we ultimately have to die. Krishna presents himself to atheists as death. He appeared in this way before Hiranyakashipu, who said, I am God. All the demigods are afraid of me. I am very powerful. Krishna comes before such atheists as death and takes everything away, all power, opulence, money, everything. The theists worship God while they are living, and their only business in this life is serving God. After death, they render the same service. Thus there is no difference between Vaikuntha and a temple for a devotee. In either case, his business is the same. Why then should he aspire to go to Vaikuntha? In the Vaikuntha planets, one attains opulence like Krishna or Narayan. There are 5 kinds of mukti, liberation, and one is sarshti. This kind of liberation brings one opulence equal to the Lord. In the Vaikuntha planets, everyone is four-handed like Narayan, and everyone is equally opulent. In Goloka Vrindavan, Krishna and the cowherd boys are equally opulent. In Vrindavan, the cowherd boys do not know that Krishna is God. They look on Krishna as an equal. This is the opulence of their devotional position. Nonetheless, the devotees do not aspire for all this opulence. Their only aspiration is to engage in the service of the Lord. In this way, they get everything. Nor are the devotees interested in attaining the mystic yoga siddhis. They do not need to be able to create a planet, for they can create Vaikuntha by worshipping Krishna in the temple. The temple is nirguna, transcendental to the gunas. In the Shastras it is said that the forest is characterized by sattva guna, goodness, and the city is characterized by rajoguna, passion, because in the city there is a great deal of illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, and meat-eating. Formerly, when people were aspiring for spiritual realization, they left the cities and went to the forests. That was the Vanaprastha stage. The word Vana means forest. Before taking sannyas, a man would leave his family and go to the forest to begin practicing austerities. Vanam gato yadarim ashrayeta. Actually, superior to living in the forest is living in the temple, because the temple is nirguna, above all the gunas, even sattva guna. The inhabitants of the temple are actually in Vaikuntha. Lord Kapila Dev next explains the nature of the special opulences of the devotees. Text 38. Nakarachin matpara shanta rupe Nangshyanti no me nimisho lady heti Yesham maham priya atma sutascha Sakha guru surado daivamishtam. Translation. The Lord continued, My dear mother, devotees who receive such transcendental opulences are never bereft of them. Neither weapons nor the change of time can destroy such opulences. Because the devotees accept me as their friend, relative, son, preceptor, benefactor, and supreme deity, they cannot be deprived of their possessions at any time. Purport. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that one may elevate himself to the higher planetary systems, even up to Brahmaloka, by dint of pious activities. But when the effects of such pious activities are finished, one again comes back to this earth to begin a new life of activities. Thus, even though one is promoted to the higher planetary system for enjoyment and a long duration of life, still, that is not a permanent settlement. But as far as the devotees are concerned, their assets, the achievement of devotional service, and the consequent opulence of Vaikuntha, even on this planet, are never destroyed. In this verse, Kapila Dev addresses his mother as Shanta Rupa, indicating that the opulences of devotees are fixed, because devotees are eternally fixed in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, which is called Shanta Rupa because it is in the mode of pure goodness, undisturbed by the modes of passion and ignorance. Once one is fixed in the devotional service of the Lord, his position of transcendental service cannot be destroyed, and the pleasure and service simply increase unlimitedly. For the devotees engaged in Krishna consciousness in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time. In the material world, the influence of time destroys everything. But in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of time or of the demigods, because there are no demigods in the Vaikuntha planets. Here our activities are controlled by different demigods. Even if we move our hand and leg, the action is controlled by the demigods. But in the Vaikuntha atmosphere, there is no influence of the demigods or of time. Therefore, there is no question of destruction. When the time element is present, there is the certainty of destruction. But when there is no time element, past, present, or future, then everything is eternal. Therefore, this verse uses the words Nangshyanti no, indicating that the transcendental opulences will never be destroyed. The reason for freedom from destruction is also described. The devotees accept the Supreme Lord as the most dear personality and reciprocate with Him in different relationships. They accept the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a dearmost friend, relative, son, preceptor, well-wisher, or deity. The Lord is eternal. Therefore, any relationship in which we accept Him is also eternal. It is clearly confirmed herein that the relationships cannot be destroyed, and therefore the opulences of those relationships are never destroyed. Every living entity has the propensity to love someone. We can see that if someone has no object of love, he generally directs his love to a pet animal like a cat or a dog. Thus, the eternal propensity for love in all living entities is always searching for a place to reside. From this verse we can learn that we can love the Supreme Personality of Godhead as our dearmost object, as a friend, as a son, as a preceptor, or as a well-wisher, and there will be no cheating and no end to such love. We shall eternally enjoy the relationship with the Supreme Lord in different aspects. A special feature of this verse is the acceptance of the Supreme Lord as the Supreme Preceptor. Bhagavad Gita is spoken directly by the Supreme Lord, and Arjuna accepted Krishna as his Guru or spiritual master. Similarly, we should accept only Krishna as the Supreme Spiritual Master. When we speak of Krishna, we include His confidential devotees. Krishna is not alone. Krishna includes His name, His form, His qualities, His abode, His associates, etc. For example, a king is always associated with his secretary, his commander, his servant, and so much paraphernalia. As soon as we accept Krishna and his associates as our preceptors, no ill effects can destroy our knowledge. In the material world, the knowledge we acquire may change because of the influence of time. But nevertheless, the conclusions received from Bhagavad Gita directly from the speeches of the Supreme Lord Krishna can never change. There is no use interpreting Bhagavad Gita. It is eternal. Krishna, the Supreme Lord, should be accepted as one's best friend. He will never cheat. He will always give his friendly advice and protection to the devotee. If Krishna is accepted as a son, he will never die. Here we may have a very loving son or child, but the father and mother, or those who are affectionate toward him, always hope, "May my son not die." But Krishna actually never will die. Therefore, those who accept Krishna or the Supreme Lord as their son will never be bereft of their son. In many instances, devotees have accepted the deity as a son. In Bengal, there are many such instances, and even after the death of the devotee, the deity performs the Shraddha ceremony for the father. The relationship is never destroyed. People are accustomed to worship different forms of demigods, but in Bhagavad Gita, such a mentality is condemned. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to worship only the Supreme Personality of Godhead in His different forms, such as Lakshmi Narayan, Sita Ram, and Radha Krishna. Thus, one will never be cheated. By worshipping the demigods, one may elevate himself to the higher planets. But during the dissolution of the material world, the deity and his abode will be destroyed. But one who worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead is promoted to the Vaikuntha planet, where there is no time, destruction, or annihilation. The conclusion is that time cannot act upon devotees who have accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as everything. Spiritual life is eternal. It cannot be destroyed. Whatever we have here in the material world is subject to destruction. In this material world, we aspire for a nice house, good property, children, friends, and riches. But ultimately, all of these will be destroyed, including ourselves. Nothing here is permanent. Therefore, everything is called illusory. Actually, we do not understand this. We take all this as permanent. The fact is, however, that only Krishna is permanent. Krishna's material energy is not permanent. Mayavadis think that in the spiritual world there are no relationships. However, in the Shastras, it is stated that in the spiritual world there is real life. Life in this material world is simply a shadow of that life. In the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, this material world is likened to a banyan tree with its roots above and branches below. This means that it is like a shadow. When we stand beside a reservoir of water, we see the tree reflected upside down. We also have the experience of a mirage in the material world. We think that there is water, but actually there is none. Sometimes sailors at sea think they see land, but actually this is a mirage in the water. This material world is like that. In our lives, we think we are enjoying some ras, some relationship. Our children are calling us father, and we are enjoying our relationship with our wife. But all of these relationships are like shadows, although people have no information of this. The true enjoyment derived from these relationships can be attained in the spiritual world with Krishna. Krishna therefore comes in person to teach us that we can enjoy the same relationship with Him. We can enjoy Him as our master, our friend, our son, our father, or our lover. The Mayavadi philosophers say that if Krishna has become everything, there is no question of Krishna as an entity or a person. This is a materialistic idea. If we tear up a piece of paper into small pieces and throw it away, the paper no longer has an existence. However, Krishna is not like that. Advaitam Achutam Anadam Ananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha, which means, quote, I worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda or Krishna, who is the original person, absolute, infallible, without beginning, although expanded into unlimited forms, still the same original, the oldest, and the person always appearing as a fresh youth. Unquote. From the Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, verse 33. Krishna has many millions of expansions, and He is also situated in everyone's heart. He is not only within human beings, but within animals, trees, plants, aquatics, and so forth. It is materialistic to think that Krishna has no individual existence if He has entered into so many millions of hearts. Even though Krishna has distributed Himself in many millions of parts, He is still present in the same strength. Krishna is Sarvaishvarya Purna. He is never diminished. There is an interesting story of a poor boy who was a student in school. During an annual Father's Day ceremony, the teacher requested the students to give some kind of contribution. Formerly, teachers would not earn a salary, but would receive whatever the students would bring from their parents' homes or by begging. Generally, the Brahmins were teachers, and they could not charge anything. Thus, some students brought the teacher rice, and some students brought other crops. This one student was so poor that he could think of nothing to bring. Therefore, he told his teacher that he would speak to his mother first. After school, the student told his mother, "My dear mother, all my classmates have promised to contribute something to the teacher. What shall I contribute?" The mother replied, "My dear son, we are so poor that we cannot give anything. However, Krishna is the friend of the poor. If he gives you something, you can promise it to your teacher." "Oh, where is Krishna?" the little boy asked. "Well, I understand that he is in the forest," the mother said. Therefore the little boy went to the forest and called for Krishna. He then began to cry, and finally Krishna came. When a devotee is very eager to see Krishna, Krishna is so kind that he comes. "So what are you asking?" Krishna said to the little boy. "You are the friend of the poor," the little boy said. "I am very poor, and what can I promise my teacher?" Krishna then told him, "You can tell him that you will supply him with some yogurt, some dahi." The little boy was very satisfied with this, and the next day he went to his teacher and said, "I will supply you as much yogurt as you need." The teacher felt that this was very nice, and he was pleased with the boy. On the day of the ceremony, the boy again went to the forest and called for Krishna. Krishna appeared and gave him a quart of yogurt. The little boy took this yogurt to his teacher and said, "This is my contribution, sir." The teacher looked at the quart and said, "What is this? Hundreds of people will be coming, and you have only given this much yogurt?" The teacher became so angry that he spilled the yogurt out of the container. When he bent down to pick it up, he saw that the container was again full. He dropped it again, and it was again full. He could then understand that it was spiritual. This is the nature of Krishna. One can take everything, and yet the same will remain. In the material world, 1 minus 1 equals 0. But in the spiritual world, 1 minus 1 equals 1. That is called Advaya Jnana. There is no duality in the spiritual world. 1 plus 1 equals 1, and 1 minus 1 equals 1. If we love Krishna, that love will not be destroyed as love is in the material world. In the material world, a servant serves the master as long as the servant is pleased, and as long as the master is pleased. The servant is pleased as long as the master pays, and the master is pleased as long as the servant renders good service. However, in the spiritual world, if the servant cannot serve under certain conditions, the master is still pleased. And if the master does not pay, the servant is also pleased. That is called oneness, absolute. A guru may have hundreds of disciples, hundreds of servants, but he doesn't have to pay them. They are serving out of spiritual love, and the guru is teaching without receiving a salary. This is a spiritual relationship. There are no cheaters and cheated in such a relationship. If we accept Krishna as our son, friend, or lover, we will never be cheated. However, we have to give up the false, illusory servant, son, father, or lover, for they will surely cheat us. We may love our son with our heart and soul, but that very son may someday be our enemy. We may love our wife very much, but someday that wife may be such an enemy that she will kill us for her own interests. There are many instances of this in history. Mayavadi philosophers are afraid of having such relationships because they have bitter experience with these relationships in the material world. They therefore want to negate all relationships, and therefore they say no more son, daughter, lover, master, or whatever. Being disgusted with these things, they try to make everything void. Yet if we have the same relationship with Krishna, we will never be cheated or disappointed. Our enthusiasm will increase more and more. Therefore, Krishna encourages us to accept him as our son, as our friend, and as our master. Then we will be happy. Texts 39 to 40. Imam lokam tathaivamum atmanam ubeyayinam atmanam anuyecheha ye raya pashavo graha visrajya sarvananyamscha mamevam vishvato mukham Bhajantyananya ya bhaktya tanrityur atipadaye. Translation. Thus the devotee who worships me, the all-pervading Lord of the universe, with unflinching devotional service, gives up all aspirations for promotion to heavenly planets or happiness in this world with wealth, children, cows, home, or anything in relationship with the body. I take him to the other side of birth and death. Purport. Unflinching devotional service, as described in these two verses, means engaging oneself in full Krishna consciousness or devotional service, accepting the Supreme Lord as all in all. Since the Supreme Lord is all-inclusive, if anyone worships him with unflinching faith, one has automatically achieved all other opulences and performed all other duties. The Lord promises herein that he takes his devotee to the other side of birth and death. Lord Chaitanya therefore recommended that one who aspires to go beyond birth and death should have no material possessions. This means that one should not try to be happy in this world or to be promoted to the heavenly world, nor should he strive for material wealth, children, houses, or cows. How liberation is imperceptibly achieved by a pure devotee and what the symptoms are have been explained. The situation with the conditioned soul is different, however. If he is in the mode of goodness, he may be preparing for promotion to the higher planets. If he is in the mode of passion, he will remain here, in a society where activity is very prominent. and if he is in the mode of ignorance, he may be degraded to animal life or a lower grade of human life. But for a devotee, there is no concern for this life or the next life, because in any life he does not desire material elevation. He prays to the Lord, "My dear Lord, it does not matter where I am born, but let me be born, even as an ant, in the house of a devotee." A pure devotee does not pray to the Lord for liberation from this material bondage. Actually, the pure devotee never thinks that he is fit for liberation. Considering his past life and his mischievous activities, he thinks that he is fit to be sent to the lowest region of hell. If in this life I am trying to become a devotee, this does not mean that in my many past lives I was 100% pious. That is not possible. A devotee, therefore, is always conscious of his real position. Only by his full surrender to the Lord, by the Lord's grace, are his sufferings mitigated. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, "Surrender unto me, and I will give you protection from all kinds of sinful reaction." That is his mercy. But this does not mean that one who has surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord has committed no misdeeds in his past life. A devotee always prays, "For my misdeeds may I be born again and again, but my only prayer is that I may not forget your service." The devotee has such mental strength, and he prays to the Lord, "May I be born again and again, but let me be born in the home of your pure devotee, so that I may again get a chance to develop my spiritual life." A pure devotee is not anxious to elevate himself in his next birth. He has already given up that sort of hope. In any life in which one is born, as a householder, or even as an animal, he must have some children, some resources, or some possessions. But a devotee is not anxious to possess anything. He is satisfied with whatever is obtainable by God's grace. He is not at all attached to improving his social status or the education of his children. He is not neglectful. He is dutiful. But he does not spend too much time on the improvement of temporary household or social life. He fully engages in the service of the Lord, and for other affairs he simply spares as much time as absolutely necessary. Yatartam upayunjita. Such a pure devotee does not care what is going to happen in the next life or in this life. He does not care even for family, children, or society. He fully engages in the service of the Lord in Krishna consciousness. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita that without the knowledge of the devotee, the Lord arranges for his devotee to be immediately transferred to his transcendental abode just after leaving his body. After quitting his body, he does not go into the womb of another mother. The ordinary common living entity, after death, is transferred to the womb of another mother, according to his karma or activities, to take another type of body. But as far as the devotee is concerned, he is at once transferred to the spiritual world in the association of the Lord. That is the Lord's special mercy. Because he is all-powerful, the Lord can do anything and everything. He can excuse all sinful reactions. He can immediately transfer a person to Vaikuntha Loka. That is the inconceivable power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is favorably disposed to the pure devotees. In these verses, Kapila Dev is describing the devotee's acceptance of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as the most dear to us. If we want to love Krishna as a son, Krishna is prepared to be our son. Arjuna accepted Krishna as his friend, and Krishna was his best friend. Everyone can accept Krishna in so many ways. We can love Krishna as Arjuna did, or as Mother Yashoda did. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj simply heard about Krishna and developed love. The first-class yogi takes Krishna as everything. Priya, Sutta, Sakha, Guru, everything. This is real bhakti. If we want a son, Krishna is prepared to be our son. If we want a lover, he is prepared to be our lover. If we want a friend, he is prepared to be our friend. Whatever relationship we want in the material world, we can have with Krishna. We all have some loving propensity, and Krishna is prepared to fulfill this propensity. Krishna is not a person like ourselves. We occupy one body, but Krishna is the owner of all bodies. The body is a machine given by Krishna. In the material world, a father may give his son a car. Similarly, Krishna gives the living entities bodies, 8,400,000 different types of bodies. The living entity gets into the body just as a person gets into a car, and he goes this way and that. We can drive this machine called the body for so many years. Then it becomes old, and we have to change it for another machine. This is the process of birth and death. We drive one car for a while, and the car is finally broken, or it is smashed. We may have an accident or not, but eventually the car has to go to the junkyard. Then we have to get another car. Actually, our position is that we never take birth and never die. But why have we been put into this position of accepting these machines? This is our real problem. What is the cause of this? We want to enjoy this material world with its wealth and possessions. As long as we are after material possessions, we cannot transcend the cycle of birth and death. However, we have to give up all this and take shelter of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worship Him. Nor can we worship Him whimsically, but as He desires. If Krishna says, "I want a glass of water," we must bring Him water. We cannot say, "Milk is better than water. I think I will bring Him milk." This is not favorable service. Some so-called bhaktas say, "I can worship the Lord in my own way." This is simply imagination. The Mayavadis say that Brahman has no rupa, no form, and they suggest that we imagine some form. This is not the case with Krishna. Krishna is present in His original form, and He is described in Vedic literatures. We have recounted these descriptions before. If we want to attain a body like Brahma's, we can get it. If we want a body like a worm in stool, we can get it. Or if we want a body like Krishna's, we can get that also. That is our real body of Satchit Ananda. We can also get a body like a demigod's and go to the heavenly planets. Or we can remain here in the middle planetary system. Our destination is our own choice. We are given full freedom through our activities. By pious activities, we go to the heavenly planets, and by Krishna-conscious activities, we go to Vaikuntha Loka. We are part and parcel of Krishna, but somehow or other we have forgotten this. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 20, verse 117, it is said, Krishna buli se jiva anadi bahir mukha, ataeva maya tare deya samsara dukha, which means, quote, forgetting Krishna, the living entity has been attracted by the external feature from time immemorial. Therefore, the illusory energy, Maya, gives him all kinds of misery in his material existence. Unquote. Because we have forgotten Krishna, Krishna has given us all these Vedas and Puranas. Krishna also comes into this material world in order to remind us of himself. In this Kali Yuga, people are forgetting Krishna more and more. They are not even interested in him, but Krishna is interested because we are his sons. A mad son may no longer be interested in his home, in his father or mother, yet the father never loses interest in his son. He is anxious because his boy has left home and is suffering. Similarly, Krishna's son leaves the spiritual sky and takes up one material body after another, and in this way travels from one planet to another in different species of life. Therefore, Krishna comes to rescue him.